Hello, hello. Hello, can y'all hear me? Oh,
Let's do that. There we go. There you go, Miss B. Where you go, girl? All right, folks. Just Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast Hip Hop. There she is. There you go. Back up. There you go. There you go. Chat room is open. Bernadette is here. We got a new link. We had to flip some shit up. My man Tabitha said you can hear me all good. Hey, folks. This is Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast Hip Hop, with my main homie from the East Coast, my man, the wide
Man,
one.
work it out.
The wide one.
You work it out.
The wide one.
You on wide.
The
You on
wide
wide,
one.
6'5".
The wide one.
You 6'5". You 6'5" plus. Bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on, brother.
My man,
Look,
Dr. Dre.
I'm feeling like a true Egyptian right now because I'm reading nothing but hieroglyphs on the wall.
Amen.
And we are the incredible. I'm putting incredible in front of it. Connect this like no other.
Connect
I'm
this.
telling you right now. And let's make it happen with our beautiful Bernadette in play. I'm going Egyptian from now on, man.
What up, folks?
I'm coming right out the pyramid.
All right, the chat room was in full effect. I see all the usual suspects: Gary's Garage, Marlon Cozy, Tavis Miller, J. Rose Theory, King Kev Young, Keeve Young, and a few other folks that's not in the chat room per se. But hey, folks, we're about to do this right quick, man. We and Dre was talking offline about Suge Knight's civil case.
In other words,
jury.
the case that they go for the money.
The money case,
money case.
It's I've been involved in that before, where somebody dies and all of a sudden you got to give them a check. And I've always felt that, I guess I don't know why the check is so important because I don't want a check. I want that person. But I guess if you can't, it doesn't resonate with me. I guess that's just the way this country or this world works. If something happens, you got to give me some money for it, make me feel better. Or
to compensate you for the work that you weren't paid for while you were here.
Okay. That's
However you want to look at it.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
That's basically what it is.
That's what it is. So if you were working and you were the breadwinner for pay for your for the loss of your family won't become destitute. I get it from that angle. That makes sense.
Connector joined.
That makes sense. Yeah. So they had a deadlock. The jury came back, said, we can't. We got some things that ain't quite clear. We can't give you nothing just yet. So they had a what's it called a deadlock or a hung jury. And no, Suge ain't getting out of jail. That's only get that twisted. He ain't get out of jail on the hung jury. They just don't know how to make him compensate that family for that man's loss, and that's the big issue right now. How do we compensate this man's family for the loss that Suge caused? And
well, what was the lawsuit for? Let's define what this lawsuit was about who was suing Suge. What was that?
This is
all about?
When Suge ran over doing the production affair out of Compton. He got into a confrontation not too far from my house with a young man, Bone Clee Sloan, aka Bone, and went to run him over in his truck. And when he missed Bone, he ran over a friend of his, Terry Carter, a friend of his and a well-liked person in the community, Terry Carter, and his family is suing for lost wages and compensation and pain and suffering and all that kind of good stuff. So.
And did Terry expire?
He died.
I thought he killed him. Yeah, he killed him.
He died right there. Yeah.
So that's why they want the money.
That's why they want the money.
It's as simple as that.
Simple as that. So yeah, Doc. That's what we're dealing with on this end over here. What you got for me today, Dre?
Now this has been, like I told you, I'm going hardcore Egyptian. I'm reading the hieroglyphs on the side of the pyramid, and I'm making sure that everybody know it stinks at the Sphinx. America is really on the tipping edge of out of control. Now we knew the Supreme Court in its 6-3 bias after Trump was allowed to put a last Supreme Court justice in, breaking the old Moscow Mitch rule that in an election year, you can't put a Supreme Court justice on. One of the reasons I got problems with Obama. So they decided to overrule Roe versus Wade. So women in the United States of America and many states that have what you call trigger rules have abolished abortion in the United States of America. Yes, they've abolished abortion. I don't know if some are effective immediately, some are effective within some days, but you got women protesting for and women protesting against. And here's my thing. In the 21st century, and this action, because it's not a law, it was an action, has been in place for 50 years, 50. The country to this day says they agree with abortion being legal in the United States. Over 60% of the United States agrees. So a minority turned over a rule to the majority. That's one. Number two, that 6-3 conservative court that was put together by yours truly, Don, I'm out of my freaking mind, Trump, or maybe he isn't out of his freaking mind, the big liar, the person who's being shown to be the greatest liar in the history of American politics, turned over 137 rule of concealed weapon carrying in New York. So in other words, you can get a permit and carry a concealed weapon in New York, like it's the beast of the East, finally he's armed, like we don't have enough problems with AR-15s, AK-47s, and other 9mm extended cases around the country. Now in New York, you can walk around with a license. You have to get permitted to carry open carry. This is insane. This is insanity at high levels. And you know who I blame?
What?
I don't blame Donald Trump. I don't blame Mitch McConnell. I blame lazy American voters and citizens who don't get off their asses and vote. You let Republicans get in to your local elections, state elections, and federal elections. Oh, there was one more big three. There was a big three. The last one was in a town in Long Island where I reside called Smithtown. Their library board voted to remove all Pride and LGBTQ books from children's libraries during Pride Month. And they also put out, if you go and take the books out the library, in the adult library, don't bring them back, just destroy them. What? And one person complained, yes, one person complained, wait a minute, this ain't Alabama. This is New York. This is Long Island. This is a Republican county from Nassau to Suffolk, period. Like I said, I don't worry about being down south. Down south to me starts at the Canadian border. And maybe on my platform box, because we the people are going to be taken over. Period. You don't move until you see the handwriting off the wall and in your face. So can't protect our women. They've lost their rights. Rights they've had for 5 decades. We're open carrying in New York City, where we already got enough problems every night with a shooting from some gang members. And now the LGBTQ community, middle finger to you, it's Pride Month. but we taking that away from you too. Although they had an emergency session and they reversed the decision. That's why I said that was a big number 3. So I'm playing Egyptian because the handwriting's been on the wall for a long time. And the January 6th committee is exposing the Republicans and Donald Fake for who they are. They're telling on each other. And yet, when you go to the news and they interview these folks, we don't care. We're going to put Trump back in office. He's committed federal crimes. Federal
All right,
crimes.
Dre, calm down. Your blood pressure going to go up.
And no. I'm about to bring it down.
Calm down.
I'm about to bring it full circle with love. Because I don't hate. Because hate is too much weight. And let me show you the love and how we can change this. Let's get off our asses, folks. It's time for us to combine, create, collaborate, alliances with all people of color, all minorities, not just Black folks, not just Latino folks, not just Asian folks, everybody, because they're coming for your freedoms. How you can think about being a conservative in a country that was created with liberal intent.
All right.
Seceding from Great Britain is a liberal act, not a conservative act.
Okay.
I say no more.
All right, that was a mouthful, baby. That was a mouthful. You've been talking about 5 minutes now. I was watching the clock. He had a diatribe. Bernadette, your audio on Bernadette? You smiling, but you ain't saying nothing, Bernadette. As a female, how do you feel about them overturning Roe versus Wade? I don't
and
hear
it started
you,
with a case from Mississippi.
Bernadette, you ain't your mouthful ain't coming out.
The challenge started in Mississippi to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
So Bernadette, kick some red clay.
We got somebody else on the line too.
Let's make it happen.
Who we have here? Morris the Connector.
Come on, Morris, how you doing today?
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm Morris the Connector from London, man. I'm listening and I love what I'm hearing. You know, I'm too from, a background from the streets. When you're ready to hear what I've got to say, let me know. You know what I mean? I'm just here listening as a guest, actually.
I appreciate you. I heard about you.
Come on in, Connector.
Hold on. You didn't got a tangent started now. We got to wrap that up right quick to come back to my man right quick. We'll be right back with Morris the Connector. He got a street story to tell us. The two are not connected. We're gonna get back to him in just a minute. Be right back, Morris.
Okay.
All right, Miss B, we hear you now.
I got muted again. Dr. Grady, can you mute me again?
You ain't working. No,
I just got unmuted.
She's breaking.
You're breaking up.
Come on, join us on planet Earth. Come on.
What about now?
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
Put the aluminum foil on your phone.
I'm telling you. So in Mississippi, we have a lot of ass backwards stuff going on. We had 30.
No. Hey, go ahead and come back out, baby. You got a bad connection.
All right. I will be right back.
You have a bad connection. Go ahead and come back. All right, folks. We sit here, the Godfather of West Coast Hip Hop, and my man, Dr. Dre. We've had some historical movements made in the Supreme Court in the last 48 hours.
48 hours.
48 hours has undone hundreds of years of laws that have protected people or gave people rights that they felt they needed. And like he said, we have a Supreme Court that's like, no. But that's one thing I can say about the Republicans. Them some relentless son of a bitches. They're relentless.
Oh, yeah.
They don't give up.
You gotta admire them for their tenacity.
You don't give up. And see, if Democrats had the same tenacity and some good ideas, because we usually have some pretty good ideas, but they play a long game, and that's Mitch McConnell, like you said, Moscow Mitch. He play a long game, and he keeps his people in his district very happy. Keep his seat. Okay, he keeps his people happy. Meanwhile, he ruins the rest of the country. And that's the problem I think we have when you have a handful of people, middleman for everybody else. I understand we have to have some form of government, but we need to have some way to directly influence them. And it's not fair to have outside or corporate influences paying people to promote and vote on behalf of the better interests of a corporation or a private entity,
Bernadette, the
rather
divine
than
connector,
for
joined.
the people that actually voted for them to be in office. We see what Bernadette, she's back here. Miss B, you there, baby?
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
There you go. There you go.
There you go.
Good. So, the question was, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of nonsense. I'm not surprised. Dre, I would love to see if your daughter Angelique could come through on there. I love that girl. I'm very proud of what she has to say about things, and really, I want to flip it around because you're dads. Both of you are fathers of daughters, and we don't hear enough from the men about our dads' perspectives about that. And whatnot too. But like I said, I'm not surprised. I've been out here advocating, talking to women about the toxicity of feminine products and things like that. Mississippi has been doing nonsense things like this. Lonzo, I didn't, and we're gonna probably segue into the Morris the Connector. Down in Mississippi, just this month we had a raffle. It was a gun raffle here in Mississippi. 30 guns for 30 days. They had automatic rifles, pistols, even a flamethrower down there on the coast of Mississippi. 30 days, 30 guns. So the local vote sometimes is led by nonsense, tolerated by nonsense, and people don't even know what's going on. So that, things like that. Did you know that we were still allowed to, not down here in Jackson, because Jackson is already doing it. 30 days, 30 guns. Flamethrowers in a raffle.
Wow.
Automatic rifles in a raffle. Pistols in a raffle on the coast of Mississippi for a band trip to Florida for a band trip. So what I see, the things that come out of Mississippi, wow. You can't be surprised. That right there, the nation is in disarray with some things that we should be passionate about or caring about. But, the thing about us is we get passionate and pissed off and outraged about things when it's trending. So today we're upset about Roe versus Wade. Tomorrow will we still be as upset and wanting to do something, making changes and things like that? That's the thing. We don't. The fire doesn't underneath us doesn't last long enough. We do it as long as it's trending, right?
And see, that's one thing about the Republicans. As long as their thing is smoldering, they keep the fire going. It may not be burning. They'll keep that something smoldering until they can get a flame going. And as soon as you ain't paying no attention, woof, they light your ass up.
That's it. I mean, because nobody's paying attention enough to, like I said, 30 days, 30 guns. That's crazy.
One second, Bernadette. Alonzo, you said something very interesting, that the Supreme Court passed a motion that they allowed corporations to be treated like citizens.
Right.
That's what brought all the dark money into the electorate. Because there used to be a time where we could have actual civil discourse, but yet be able to work with people across the aisle. Just like they passed that ridiculous gun mention and said, well, it's just a little step. They passed a gun law that has no effect of saving anybody's life. Because people who want to get guns are going to get them. And they're not going to worry about a piece of paper that the Congress and the Senate just passed. It didn't raise the age limit of 18-year-olds going in and buying automatic rifles. It didn't protect people from getting full background checks. It was a passive thing to be political. So in November, Republicans would say, see, we did something about the massacre that happened down in Texas, but yet no one wants to get on the police commissioner or the chief, who the footage shows they were in the building with shields, with bulletproof vests, and they sat there, and the jackasses didn't even try to open the door because the door was unlocked.
Yeah, I heard about it.
So they sat and they let the kids die. So when I get infuriated, I'm gonna say I'm gonna use love because crucifixion ain't no fiction. So-called chosen, frozen, apologies made to whoever it pleases. Still, you got me like Jesus. It's time to turn it. It's time to turn it. In the words of people, put down your weapons. I'll tell my people to put down their weapons. We're fooling each other, folks. Time for fooling each other is ended. It's just the time is over. Because even with the turning of Roe versus Wade, they're coming after LGBTQ rights next. Because Uncle Clarence Thomas was the black jackass who sat there and wrote the dissertation to make this to overturn Roe versus Wade. Always the setup man, always the fool. And his wife is a conspiracy, not a conspiracy. She is an insurrectionist. Period.
I
That's who she is.
I
Why again? Why do we go for incarceration when it comes to people of color? But when they make these moves, we have to wait long periods of proof. You have to over let everybody know that this is what happened. And we got these fools on camera, on video. This
All
makes
right.
no sense.
Makes no sense.
Mhm.
All right, Doc.
This makes no sense.
That's
Let's bring it up.
yeah. Okay.
So much, so much.
Let's bring in my man Morris to connect it to the show right quick.
Come on, Morris.
Morris, what's up with you, Doc?
I'm here, man. Can you hear me?
Right there. Welcome to Legendary
You're fine.
Connect.
Yeah, man. Welcome. Thanks for welcoming, man. Bernadette and Lonzo and Dr. Dre, man. Amazing people, man. People that are showing their true colors in wearing their crown. My hashtag is wear your own crown because I believe we're kings and queens and we're supposed to lead from the front with what God has blessed us with, which is that gift that we can make a difference because we're all different, you know. But it wasn't always like that with me, you know. I've grown to know myself, love myself, and believe in myself. It's only then you can display the true powers
Yep.
that God has given us, which is to empower once you have the power. If you agree with me, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I just want to talk about from my perspective in England, London. I can relate to everything that you're talking about, you know, because I come from a background of being I'm a former gangster, drug dealer in London, a big drug dealer in London, you know, but now I'm a game changer now. You know, I lost 2 sons on the journey, 2 sons, young sons that died, but I believe that they died for me to mold me into the person I'm meant to be, because I believe adversity introduces a man or woman to themselves, because it introduced me to myself. That's why I'm called Morris the Connector, because I'm now connected to my inner self. When we talk about inner, we're talking about that spirit, that inner self that you love. I think the greatest tragedy in life is breathing and not knowing why, because I didn't know why I was put here on earth. So from my perspective, looking back now, I can see that the system got hold of me, and I'm sure you guys can agree with me on that. The system got hold of me and made me think that I wasn't to be. but what is to be will be, because God has blessed me. So if you don't mind, I'll go into a little bit of my story, which is my glory now. Is that okay?
Yeah, go right here.
Yeah, because
Yeah, so I
yes.
grew up with my mum.
Please.
Yeah, I grew up with my mum and 5 siblings, and my dad. I love my dad dearly, like we do. But you know, in the black community, sometimes it doesn't work out. It didn't work out with my mum and dad. You know, my dad left when I was 7 years old, and I did struggle with that greatly. I missed my dad because I loved my dad so much. I used to watch him go to work and cry, "Dad, can I come with you?" But one day he didn't come back home, and when he didn't come back home, I was sad. And what can I say? I was sad and also mad. My dad not being there, asking where he was. My mum would give me explanations. She would just say, "He's not here, he's not coming back." But later on, I found out he had an affair, which is what we do sometimes, because I've grown up to know what happens amongst men and woman. So he didn't come back. My mum caught him, knocked about, so she kicked him out. So fast forward, when I was 13, 14 years old, I was going to school. I was a disruptive kid, not having a dad. And the teacher used to say to me and put me in a corner and say, Morris, you're not going to be nothing in life. You're going to be nothing. Get in that corner and humiliate me. You know, what a thing for a teacher to do. But in that day, there was so much prejudice. At that time in the 70s, it was unbelievable when I look back. They could get away with saying things to ethnic minority people. But fast forward, I left school when I was 16 years old, not believing, not knowing, I would say, not knowing who I was or who I was meant to be. I tried to get a job, but I struggled with that. In the end, I gave up on society when I went for a job one day and I got turned down. And my white friend, he went for the
Picking
job.
up, Doc.
Is that okay?
You better go ahead.
Go ahead. Try now.
Yeah,
Go
Doc, you
ahead.
okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll cut it short. He went for the job, but my white friend got the job. I said, how did you get the job? He said, there was vacancies. For some reason, I didn't get the job. When I put it down to, they didn't want me because of my color. So I was a man of determination. So some of my friends used to sell drugs and come around with nice things. So I joined their gang and I started to sell drugs. And I went up the ladder quickly because I'm a smart guy. So I knew how to sell and how to get clients and everything. But within 12 years of selling drugs, I ended up in jail a few times and I didn't know what to do. But when a catalyst happened, when my 18-month-old son passed away, he was called Dwayne. He had an accident at home, he passed away. That made me look at myself as a person because I must have hugged him 10 or 15 times because I was out there drinking, smoking, thinking this was life. You know, I thought I was successful now. I had money, jewelry, everything, car. But I want to say, that ain't success. Success is me telling my truth here now. That's
Morris, you did that for how long? You sold drugs for how long? You said
12
you were
years. 12 years.
12 years. Okay.
12 years.
I'm learning about. I didn't see London that way. To
Yeah,
be,
going in and
I
out
did
of
not.
prison. 12 years I was selling drugs and I was enjoying it. I'm not lying. I had money. I wasn't used to money. I grew up with a poor background. Now I've got money. I've got jewelry. I think I'm the man. When my son passed away, I wasn't the man. I wanted to die when my son passed away. My mum used to say, come to church, Morris. And I would say, no, I ain't got enough time. But here I was wanting to change my mindset, to reset my mindset from thinking them thoughts that I wanted to commit suicide. So I went to church. But by going to church, I would say to everyone that's listening here today, in your darkest moments, focus on the light. I started to focus on the light and started to believe in God and started to see things differently. I just wanted to be somebody of substance. And I started to work. I started to work. And gradually I was working. Within 8 years, I was able to set up a business. I set up this business, a chauffeur company. I set up a chauffeur company. That chauffeur company now drives some of the biggest stars in the world, like Justin Bieber when he comes to London, and Beyonce, Usher, many stars I've done. Whitney Houston's tour done. This was unbelievable because I couldn't even get a job at that time. But I want to say, life is happening for us. Life is happening for us. That pain that you go through is your gain because it's who become through the pain. But in 2007, I lost my sister. In 2010, I lost my mum. In 2011, I lost my dad. In 2015, my wife committed suicide. She left a 13-year-old and a 13-year-old and a 30-year-old. I struggled with that. I struggled with that greatly. I said, why me? Why me, God, many times. But now I say, try me, because I know why. I believe God was chipping away at me to become Morris the Connector, who I believe we're all meant to be somebody. We're all meant to find our gift, find our purpose, and lead with it. And through that tragedy, I believe that God chipped away at me to make me realize, understand, understand, and overstand to become the person I am now, which is a connector to connect people to their self, to show them that they too can overcome anything they want to overcome. We
So
are
Morris,
overcomers.
real quick, what? So now, since you are have arrived to being the connector, having the background that you've had now, who are you reaching out to with that has, because we have a lot of things going on in the states and things like that. No different than, I'm assuming, the violence that you have in London and everything. What are you saying to our? I mean, because like as people of color, who are, I mean,
Yeah,
you're connecting as a connector. Who are you connecting with, and what do you have to tell them now when they're still
yeah,
dealing with those same
yeah. I would tell them
issues
what
of power,
yeah,
and like where's your reach beyond us networking as connectors with people, entrepreneurs and stuff? How does your background help you as a connector to reach those who may actually feel as though they would never succeed unless they go that route? Being a
yeah,
gangster, being a
yeah,
drug dealer, who are you
yeah.
reaching now in the same
I,
places that you were once in?
Yeah, yeah, I understand what you're saying. So now God has given me the power and the glory in my story. So I have certain power now, but it's to empower what God has given me. So I go to schools now. I go to schools and show that the kids, and I say to the kids, listen, in every follower, there's a leader. You can be somebody. You're meant to be somebody. You're a king, you're a queen. So I go to schools now and tell my story, which inspires the kids and impacts them. Do you know what I mean? To make them realize that this guy came from naught and now he's a hero because they're the pen and paper of your story, which is your glory. You could play the victim or the hero. I'm the hero now, I say to them. At the end of the day, it's up to you. You can choose something of of substance, a progressive idea. Think of something you love. So I've just recently set up a charity. So I've got my own charity now. I recently went to Ethiopia to inspire some kids over there because my daughter moved to there and she teaches over there. I
Okay.
went over there and I went to a school and seen the kids struggling and bought them all gifts. And I came back here with a vision and mission now to set up a charity to empower the kids and teach them life skills, which they don't teach at school. Life skills is important. And empowerment. Empower them for them to believe in themselves by looking in my story and saying, yes, I can do it too. So that's what I'm doing now. Going to schools. I'm looking to get grants and things like that, which I'm struggling. I've got a GoFund now on my charity,
Okay.
wants to connect to CIC, where I've got a team together because before I die, I want to make these kids become leaders because they're the future of the world. They get left behind.